Don't worry. I follow way worse posters than you. I've been doing this podcasting game for a long time, so I have some real freaks in my mutual.
I think there's like a
Pittsburgh
connection in the group here. Is that? I mean, I may be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure Ashley and John both have lived in Pittsburgh.
Wait, John, did you live in Pittsburgh at one point?
Yeah, I lived in Pittsburgh for 10 years. I just moved back up to Michigan like 2 years ago.
Wow. Why 10 years? Did you like it there?
Oh, I loved it there. Yeah. I just got priced out of my apartment. My landlord was like, we're getting a big investment. We need to raise the rents to recoup it. And so you can either face a 50% rent increase or move. And me and my wife were just like, well, let's just go get married and live in Michigan where it's beautiful and where we go on vacation anyway.
That's a
and
fair
now we're in
choice.
Michigan and we're just like, let's take a vacation to Pittsburgh.
Oh my God.
True Midwesterners there. I like that.
Yeah. Hey, look, anything to get in a car for 7 hours. That's my fucking favorite.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Yeah.
No, but Pittsburgh was great.
You love the Overcast and the Furry convention?
The Furry convention was awesome. I actually found out about that because I was working at the Starbucks downtown, and it was the nearest Starbucks to the convention center. And I just remember, because, I didn't have like a big political or really social education at that point. I was some shit-ass 19-year-old who just moved from Wisconsin back to Michigan over to Pittsburgh. I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, clearly. And so I wait on all the furries, and they're really wonderful. And they give us tips. They're like really nice. They're taking photos. And then the next week, the NRA rents out the convention center.
Nice.
And
coincidence? No.
And it was fucking nuts. The difference, because the tips just like disappeared.
I was going to say, there's no way that tips are as good as the furries. That's what I keep hearing.
Furries are the most enthusiastic customers you'll ever see in your life. Because it's like, I love furries, don't get me wrong, but it's a consumer culture. Like, it takes some money to get into, and you either have to be skilled at it or ready to pay.
Those fursuits, man, they're like $6,000 minimum.
Basically an exoskeleton at this point. Does it help? Is there a back brace built into that thing? I might need one.
There is a, I have to say, having been to the furry convention unwittingly, or I guess semi-wittingly.
Okay, I was going to say, did you think it was a pet show or something?
Well, so we were moving. You said this before. We were moving Ashley from Pittsburgh to Queens, and just happened to be. Totally didn't know until we got there that this was the weekend that the furry convention was. Mm-hmm. So I was there with my friend, and we just got to meet all these furries. And I have to say, like, having been to a couple of restaurants and like in the general proximity of them, a lot of smells, a lot of different.
What do you think happens inside a fursuit?
Smells. They weren't. Not all of them were wearing fursuits, and the smells are still there. Yeah.
And it was the potency of the smell. It implied that it had been a while, not just wearing a fursuit throughout the day.
That doesn't just happen. That kind of smells that we smelled.
The thing about a furry convention is it's like Burning Man, but instead of for like weird business and professional media class type people,
Burning Man, if you will, I guess.
It's Burning Man. It's Burning Man for people who are like, this is the time of year when I go outside. I take this fursuit I've been working on in this musty basement for 9 months, my little fur baby. Okay. And I'm going to bring it out there. And if it means I can't shower for a week because I don't take it off, then I don't shower for a week because I don't take it off. It's like a camping mentality almost.
Well, let me say that you could definitely have gotten any drugs you wanted there. Like there was that. It was a strange vibe, but that was definitely the vibe.
How does that work?
I don't know how to explain it. Just like there were like random people like, hey, you going to the rave? And you knew that if you said maybe, they'd be like, they were going to give you ecstasy, It was that kind of like, or like if you really wanted acid, you could get it easily within like a quarter-mile radius.
True. I feel like furries
rolling in a fursuit seems like a safe space to me. Like, I mean, like if you were tripping, you couldn't see my crazy eyes. If I was rolling, you can't see my crazy jaw. True. And I'm contained. That seems like that works for me.
You're in character.
It's the cops. Oh my god! Everybody pretend to be oversized stuffed animals.
It sucks that we were moving me the next day because I feel like tripping on ecstasy, all of the textures that we could have felt.
Yeah, there were a lot of textures, a lot of smells and textures to be had at the furry convention.
Mm-hmm.
Is that real fake mink? Yeah, buddy, get in here. No, but I mean that's the beautiful thing about Pittsburgh is it's a rundown post-industrial Rust Belt city, you know, deep in northern Appalachia, blah blah blah, however you want to describe it. But it's like, for as rough and kind of like shitty of a place as it is, it's incredibly accepting. Like, you'll never meet so many people. Like, I'm from the Midwest and we're supposed to be the nice ones, and it's fake. It's fake up here. Pittsburghers will be real with you. If they want you to fuck off, they'll tell you so. And if they love you, man, they'll tell you so. Like,
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we could make the Pittsburgh connection. I knew there was something there, but it was way more fruitful than I actually anticipated. I didn't know there'd be a furry story in there, or mini. But before we get too deep into the show, let's make sure we welcome our guests. If everybody has somehow not noticed that we have a new voice in the mix, welcome to the show, John Paul Zigterman of Beep Beep Lettuce and Work Stoppage. We're so happy to have you.
Yay.
Thank you so much for having me on. I would have been on earlier, but I couldn't accept the invitation until I had enough time away from work to stay up past my bedtime.
You have to wake up early, right? I mean, we stay up late to do the podcast, but there's time zones in the mix, and that makes it harder.
Yeah, I'm Eastern Standard too. I'm in West Michigan here. We're as far west as you can go without leaving EST. Like, if I go to the beach just 5 miles down the road, my phone will switch to Chicago time pretty frequently.
That's crazy. Okay, cool.
So we have super late sunsets, which is nice. But yeah, my alarm goes off at 4:20 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, which is like 4:20, nice, but also 4:20, holy shit.
Yeah, it's probably pitch black out too, right?
Yeah, and especially in the winter, like I do the first, 3-4 hours of my job just completely in the dark, which is great if you're an absolute fucking psychopath.
I miss those days. I remember my very first job. I would wake up probably before 5 to go work at Kroger. I was a cart pusher and a bagger, and they would put you on different shifts, but sometimes you had the morning shift, and I loved that shit. It was amazing. Like,
there's a kind of weird peace.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different kind of peace than late at night.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, my stepbrother just got moved from third to first shift, and he was like, man, the difference between getting out of work at 5 a.m. and going to work at 5 a.m. is like night and day.
Literally. Yeah, but not exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, ever since I worked my last second shift job like 5 or 6 years ago, and I just vowed like never again. Like, I'll start wicked early, but I am working in the mornings, period, full stop. I want to sleep at night like a real monkey, not like one of these business suit types who's like, you got to grind it out till 4:30 a.m. and snort brain fuel and all that shit.
Well, if I remember correctly, I mean, it's kind of a through line for you, John, where I know back in the day in Pittsburgh when you would work at the parking, the booth, which was, I miss those days so much. There were so many different types of content that came out of there. But one of them was that you did the snack reviews, which I just love deeply. Do you have any new snack reviews you could give us for tonight's show? Because,
I mean, I'll tell you what I became addicted to when I started working at the vending machine spot, which is the jalapeno cheddar crunchy Cheetos. Of all of those the Frito-Lays, the green bag, they're like fucking... Whenever you see a snack come in a green bag, like the first time I saw the green Doritos bag, I went ape shit. I was like, garden salsa with like... I don't even remember what other stuff was on there, but I mean, the jalapeno... cheddar Cheetos are like a 10 out of 10 for me. But it's funny that you bring up Work Snacks, because I only ever made 3 videos for Work Snacks. None of them were more than a minute and a half long. They mostly involved me eating like canned ground meat and like cherry tomatoes and
shout
stuff
out to Kim
at my fucking
We
parking
need Kim here if we're going to talk about canned meat. Not Kim meat. Sorry, Kim. Kim is famous for the canned tuna and what else? Like bacon. I can't remember what Kim puts on it, but
oh, the little bags of bacon?
I don't remember, but she had a stick going for
bacon
a while
bits?
where she had the canned tuna. Yeah. The listeners know. Sound off in the Discord if you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more of like a Spam, potted meat and Braunschweiger kind of guy. I was really big on the Braunschweiger for a while till I had to cut down my salt intake.
That's serious shit.
But that's the thing, like I posted those videos up, like 3 of them, a few months apart, years ago. And like, I make music, I make podcasts, I do audio editing for other people, I make intro songs for other people's podcasts. And the thing I get asked about the most is like, when are you going to smear meat on a cracker again and like grimace into the camera like it's a poorly thought through Adult Swim web clip?
See, this is my world, you know.
It's funny. I used to also I did soda reviews like a number of years ago, and I still get people asking like, "Hey, you gonna do a soda review?"
I was just listening to the episode,
4 years. Like
that episode we talked about this the other day, the Soda Miser, and then we named Willow the Soda Misette as well.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
We shouldn't.
It's good to flesh out the taxonomy as soon as you get a new word in your hands. You're like, okay, let's go through all the permutations here.
Yes, of course.
No, it's funny though, like stuff that people feel like they just shit out is often the stuff that other people like are the most interested in. I remember reading an interview with Matt Pike and Al Cisneros from Sleep, and they were like, we couldn't believe it when people were asking us to re-release Dope Smoker and come back and do a new album. We were like, you guys still listen to that junk we made in the 90s? And they're like, we recorded that on an 8-track with basically like $20 because we blew our entire record advance on weed. And everyone's like, yeah, man, do it again. Like, do it. Go for broke.
I'm trying to imagine spending your entire record advance on weed. Like, for one, I know record advances aren't that much, but how much was the record advance?
Like, that's a lot of weed.
I mean, it's stoner metal, so
yeah.
The album's called Dope Smoker, so you could only assume.
Right, yeah, they were like, we don't need XLR cables. We don't need mic stands where we're going. We don't need new drum heads or bass strings or anything.
The modern day equivalent of this is just like setting up
pounds.
your iPhone on a tripod and recording an album. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, especially like that's a funny thing too, because that's like the big divide in modern content, right? Is it's like if you want to really hit it big, you either need to be like a full scale team with good production value, a lighting engineer, a makeup artist, you know, costumers and all of that shit, or you need to be one person with the worst camera ever who just screams at the top of their lungs or like falls down a lot. And it's like if you try to hit a balance, you will fail. Nobody wants to see the in between. Nobody wants to see the sausage get made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the effort is worth nothing these days. You need to. In fact, I think, Matt, you just had a post about this earlier this week. It was just a screenshot of 0 people reached. And you have a name for this, right? It's like the posters.
The posters dilemma. I've been calling it for years. It's the phenomena I've noticed, like, as my audience has grown, if I do like I literally like fart out a stupid thought I'm having while I'm drunk, 500 likes, 1,000 shares, whatever. But if I like put time and effort into like, say, this podcast or something, and I go, hey, you know, check it out, it's free or whatever, it's like 6 people. And it's the same audience, you know, ostensibly it's the same people do it that would be like seeing this. It's like the more you care about whatever it is that's gonna like get reach, the less reach is going to happen.
It's like a weird thing, you know how like people say you can smell desperation, like a used car salesman has like you can smell the desperation. It's like an inverse effect of like they can smell how much you didn't care when you made this. It's like it reeks of it, and they're like, "Oh, this is it. This is the shit."
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a brevity is the soul of wit thing, or like what was the Hemingway one where it's like all prose must be short and clear. I forget what he fucking says.
Know, that's too generous.
It was in The Simpsons once. All prose must be spare and true. That's what he said. And it's just like I feel like that translates into posting in a weird way where it's like you could try to write a really, really long, like intricate joke that has subtlety about, you know, how much you hate Ron DeSantis and what a piece of shit he is. Or you can just post a picture of him looking like a turd and just write shit DePantis over it. And it's like that one's guaranteed to at least do some numbers. You know what I mean?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. God, I feel that. Sorry.
No, you're good, because it's just like I've spent so much time working on memes or like trying to get just the right image for something, you know, only to scroll down in my feed and see someone post like an image of like Mater from Cars with like just the letter E under it, and it's like taking off, and I'm like, God damn, why didn't I think of that? It doesn't make any sense. There's kind of a retroactivity thing happening too, where it's like once a meme is made and is funny, there's a sneaky kind of consensus building that happens there. It's like if you see something with 12 retweets on it and it's 5 minutes old, you're a lot more likely to retweet it than if it's doing 1 and 2 RTs and likes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah,
and the inverse is true too. if you have something up for an hour and it only has like 3 or 4 likes, people are just like, I'm not gonna go there. That's not my.
Yeah, it's just like, because you smell it. You're looking at the post. You're like, I like this post, but
they should have deleted it.
It seems like there's something wrong with it, or more people would have paid the price.
Wow. Well, speaking, this is something we got to talk about. And speaking of putting in effort, seeing if you can do something. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Apparently, there's something called the Try Guys. Have you heard about this?
Oh my God.
And I guess I don't know about the Try Guys, so I'm just gonna throw it to Ashley, who had the absolute best post I've seen about it the whole time, where it's got a picture of this guy Ned going like
such a douche.
And your post says something like my face when I try out the wrong pussy.
Yeah, just giving it a shot. Well, because like I heard that the Try Guy, the weirdest, most wholesome looking wife guy one, had cheated on his partner, and I was just like, someone else must have made the I was just trying it joke. Like someone must have, but I hadn't seen it, so I decided to post that. But God, like I remember being forced to watch some of the Try Guy videos, and I would rather be waterboarded. It's not good. It's not good content. But I wish they would.
Is that their shtick? So I had actually never heard of them before this at all.
Yeah,
which I think was like the case with a lot of people. I think I'm just like not in the age group that watches them, or like even would be on their radar.
Yeah,
like, what's their thing is that they just try different stuff, and like they do like zany stuff. Like that's like the thing, right?
They try baking. They tried birth.
And they fuck it up, and like they're stupid about it, right? That's like
exactly.
It's like, this week we're gonna try rare pocky in the suicide forest of Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well that I would watch.
There was a poster comment. Somebody said that their very first Try Guy video was them trying on women's underwear, which I have not confirmed, but I think that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was forced to watch that.
I want to be the guy who suggested that. Hey guys, I have a great idea. We could all just like, I don't know, try women's underwear.
That?
What do you guys think?
Like,
and they're like, yeah, I guess so. Okay, great. I have them right
imagining.
Here.
Well, so okay. When they go try something, like say they wanted to try skydiving, like do they just like get up and do it, or do they go like to somebody who ostensibly has experience with these kinds of things? Like how's it format? Is it more like a Tom Scott like educational kind of format, or is it more like the How Ridiculous guys where they're just like, let's see what the biggest thing we can smash is?
Yeah, I think it's more so the latter, but they do have the budget for it to be like kind of just like fairly safe, whatever stupid thing that they've decided to do.
Do you like tweens watch this? Is that like the audience?
I think so. I think it's more like
Markiplier.
Yeah, it's like Markiplier, Smosh, like that same universe of things that exist.
Very mainstream
Smosh.
white.
I woke up in the middle of the night and my YouTube autoplay was playing a Smosh compilation, and I've never experienced sleep paralysis before, but I was like, this is it, John. It's happening to you.
I'm just imagining this Ned person going to like an adultery, like professional, like, so what do I do if I want to fuck this person on my show who's a subordinate? But and
good news, Try Guy. Great Clown Pagliacci is in town.
it's Mike Ehrmantraut, and he's like, all right, so here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna I'm not gonna do it.
But doctor, my wife is great Clown Pagliacci.
Isn't he like everything I've read about this says that he's like the wife guy in the group, where he like constantly says how much he loves his wife and shit. Like,
yeah. The weird thing about this is that like, so I was like looking at him specifically, and he had like a bunch of like, a lot of the way he made money was revolved around him being like a wife guy or like involved with his wife. Like he had like a deal with like Target and shit where they were like selling, but it was like the two of them. It was like predicated on like these deals were predicated on like them being like a couple and like that's how they made money. It was super weird that he would do this like and risk not just his relationship but like his whole career and multiple deals.
Well, it's like the professional career version of that couple on Facebook that you've known for years, and you know they're fucked up, and you know they hate each other, and everything's been going to shit for a long time. But goddamn, if they don't take the most beautiful profile photos, I mean, you can tell they put some energy into that shit.
It reminds me.
The harder they try, the more pathetic it is, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost always.
It's terrifying that people make like a career out of the lifestyle. Like, have y'all seen the one picture? I feel like it's been going around this week where it's a mom. She's on the toilet. She has like a, one of those letter boards she's holding up. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen the original picture, so I don't know what the letter board says. But oh no, I do remember. It says something like "Mom needs a minute to herself." And in the background is her two kids, one sitting on the toilet, one's like being pulled away by dad. Meanwhile, she's got her pants down, sitting on the toilet. I'm like, what the amount of effort it took to take this picture, like I can't respect whatever you were trying to put out, like it's extremely disturbing to me to think about. Like, do you have a person taking the picture? Do you have a tripod? Does that mean there's a timer on? And this is so staged that it's disturbing to me,
Yeah, you're like running around your house wrangling your single-digit age children, with a clipboard screaming theater directions. Like, you need to be on your marks so mom can take her photo about how she needs a second off. It's just like, and if you're not there, I swear to God, no screen time for a year.
I get the same vibe from like reels and like TikToks and shit that I see where it's like they force they're very clearly like the child is being told to do this thing and it's like they clearly have done many takes of it and the child's not having a good time and you're like, what the fuck?
Why?
Do you have any like self-awareness that this is like depressing as fuck? But most people don't seem to care at all. They're like, they just like are commenting, LOL, this is so relatable or whatever.
Well, it goes both ways.
Yeah, my 3-year-old does this.
It's like a digital outgrowth of the attitude that a lot of like, I think boomers and even Gen Xers inherited from their parents, which is like a weird kind of like folksy down home. Let's put all the kids in the bathtub and take a photo.
Yeah, I mean,
there's very weird energy there.
I think that's true. I also think it is a form of cloud poisoning, as easy as it is to make fun of people that say they have cloud poisoning. Like 100% Ned is cloud poison. He got the clout and he was like, okay, I'm gonna get the pussy. First you get the clout, then you get the pussy. That happened to him. Sorry, Ned, that sucks.
That pussy crazed.
But then like the people doing this with their kids, it's the same thing. It's clout poisoning because kids, babies, pets, they all translate to massive clout. And if you get that kind of clout poisoning, you're on a dark path, right? Where you're trying to develop like a brand out of posting your kids on the internet. That's fucked up. Like, please don't do that.
Yeah. It's super weird because that kid's going to grow up into an adult person someday. Like if you have a capybara account where you have pet capybaras and you post photos of them, whatever, man. I guess I can come up with some problems with that, but I don't really care. They're just going to grow up into slightly larger capybaras. Not a problem with me. But like your fucking weird influencer kid is going to like run for a local office someday or be a floor manager at a large industrial warehouse or something someday.
Or just kill themselves.
Yeah. Or fuck with other people's lives enough when they're put in a position of power. I can't tell you how many times I've had a job where I met my manager and I was just like, oh yeah, man, you're definitely taking something out on people in this position. Like, why don't you just skip the middleman and go sign up to be a cop at this point, you fucking piece of shit.
I mean, this is literally the story of this, the Nickelodeon kid that's just put out a book, Jeanette Curdy. I mean, like, you can critique the book however you want, but like she went through hell for parents that were using her. I mean, sure, I'm bet at some point she wanted to be an actress or whatever, but I mean, I just can't imagine my kid writing a book that says I'm glad Phil's my dad is dead. Fuck that guy. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of parent do you have to be for them to just like write that and just be like, yep,
Well, she's dead. So
yeah, I mean the kind of parent who like drives their kid to a TV set with Dan Schneider running the show every day. I mean, how fucking blind do you have to be? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Well, speaking of,
I've learned so much more about iCarly this year than I ever thought I was going to.
Did you read the book?
You brought up iCarly.
No.
I don't think any of us have read the book, which we shouldn't because it's endorsed by Lena Dunham. No. So, like, as much as I want to, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I can't do
it.
But
I saw some connective tissue in iCarly. Apparently, there were scenes where they were like, you know, kind of like teasing like fat footage type stuff. And people are like, "Good God, why? How did Dan Schneider get away with this?" But like, I don't know.
He Tarantino'd it.
He Tarantino'd it. Anyway, speaking of foot fetishes, apparently, sorry, I gotta do this. I guess Rachel Dolezal has had her OnlyFans pictures leaked, which I think we've talked about her OnlyFans before. I don't know why this is a story right now going around because I feel like all OnlyFans get leaked by shitty people.
Yeah, like how do they not get leaked? Like if you're of any notoriety at all.
Yeah. It happens all the time, but for some reason everyone got in on this, and which I just want to preface this by saying, like, if you have access to people's nude photos, whether it be through some consensual relationship or monetary exchange, like don't share them. That's kind of fucked up. Even if the people are shitty, I would say don't do it. But what are you gonna do? You can't put the Pandora back in the box or whatever they say. Like, I didn't want to see these pictures. Well, I was in a group chat and they were sent into the group chat, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. On top of don't share people's nudes, I didn't want to see the weird blackface lady's toes. I didn't want to see that at all. But I saw it.
Yeah, it's just degrading to everybody involved, I guess. And there's not even like the font. Like, I guess when you right click save as and it's an NFT or whatever, you're like, haha, fuck the monkey, the Bored Ape Bros or whatever. But then when it enters the realm of like sexual media production, I feel like there's just a hornet's nest there that you're just really well advised to just not rattle. Like, don't play with that. Come on. That you're gonna get.
I mean, I will go ahead and state on the record for the podcast: if y'all somehow obtain pictures of my balls, it's cool. Like, share them. It's fine. I don't care.
Okay, thanks.
Please share them.
Posting like
them to your mother.
The boomer copy pasta that's like, this is my Facebook account and I do not consent to have my photos. But you're doing the opposite.
Mark
you're
Zuckerberg,
like,
you cannot,
I blanket consent.
You do not own these balls.
If anyone finds any photos of me, you're allowed to post them anywhere you want for any amount of money. Full stop. If I ever try to go against this, this document is notarized. Send tweet.
I think that's the thing. I'm going to post that as soon as we're done with the show. Like, I actually have a couple of different stories I think we should discuss related to Facebook, and it's really funny that while I was looking for stories, that these two are back to back. Let's start with the fun one, and then we'll go to the gnarly one. It says that Meta has a new text-to-video AI generator. It's like DALL-E, but for video. You just type a description, and the AI generates matching footage. Okay, sure, why not? But then just a few stories down, there is another story that says Meta reportedly suspends all hiring and warns staff of possible layoffs. So
they automated part of their staff.
Yeah, they're always expanding, but also they're always downsizing.
I'm going to type in,
and if you just keep those up at the same time,
my prompt is Meta employees doing moderation for minimum wage, and the video just generates, and you send that to everybody who gets a Facebook ban or ask for an appeal of their suspension. Because I mean, I don't give a shit about anything Meta does, but I do hate how the moderation affects both sides of it so negatively. Like that, if you're a poster, you can be so shut down by like this AI moderation. But on the same note, the people that have to do the moderation are like traumatized by all the shit that they have to see. And like, clearly now they can't hire any more people, which we need actual people to do it, not AI. We don't need videos being generated by AI. We actually need to.
Well, yeah, it's like every time. Well, every time the AI gets better at making stuff, you just introduce a new layer where it's like, okay, now can the other AI tell the AI generated stuff apart from the human generated stuff, or do we still need a person to do that?
Can you just put in like Rachel Dolezal nudes or Rachel Dolezal twerking or something and have AI generate it and just like, I mean, I'm joking, but also like it's going to get to the point where you can just do that. Like, hey, I want to see this person fuck. And you're just going to put their name in and then they're going to fucking make it. And you're going to have literal fucking AI nudes of this person.
Introduces.
There'll just be a Google tab in your image search where
as soon as you open up an incognito, it just automatically opens up.
Yeah, would you like photos from the internet or AI generated images? Because we're happy to give you either one. I mean, I got to say, I'm looking at the photos or the short videos of these AI generated videos, like this teddy bear painting a smaller teddy bear and like these unicorns running on the beach and stuff. It does look better than I was expecting because really cool. of how shitty the Meta VR shit has looked. I kind of didn't expect them to be on their game with this, but I guess machine learning is like just a functionally very different field. So I don't really know.
And it's only going to get better as it like literally learns, you know, as it hones in on the stuff. I mean, honestly, even just 5 years from now, this is going to be like, it's the images, the pictures that it's generating, even just within the last, I don't know, year of when it's really taken off. These images are gorgeous. I mean, if these, some of them, not all of them, obviously, but some of them are like masterwork paintings that a person would train their whole life to do, and it just shits it out in 10 seconds like it's nothing. You say
this
whatever.
This is a good point to recognize that these things are not just generating. You know, what you're saying is that, okay, this image that generates is like worthy of a master work of a painter, but it's literally just pulling from images of a master work. You know, like
it is, but that's also what humans are doing in a lot of ways.
You're right. True.
Yeah,
true.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, and then I mean, you could argue that the variation and like the kind of noise that it generates during the generative process is similar to the way we'll get inspired by things that exist outside of art, or like you could think of it similar to like genetic mutation inside of like an evolutionary system of natural selection and all of that other stuff. But it is interesting because it's like, the generation seems to do really good with very specific art styles. Like if you want something to look like a Renaissance painting where there are very well-structured rules for things like color selection, perspective, and lighting and the way that people are drawn, it's really good at picking up on those very well formalized styles. But if you try to get it to do something kind of innovative, like I was messing around with what's the one where you use Discord to generate it?
Midjourney.
Midjourney, yeah. I was messing around with that, and I was trying to get it to do stuff in a Dexter's Lab style, and it was really fucking struggling. It kind of kept resorting to other Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon animation styles, which was kind of interesting because, like, you think about different animation styles, they're pretty closely striated. Like, there's only a few degrees of difference between any given sets of animations. Like, if you laid them all out, you know, like by like, there wouldn't be that big of a gap between like your Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and your Codename Kids Next Door, or your Family Guy and your Simpsons, or your Venture Brothers and what have you. So I feel like picking up on those nuances is still going to take the machine learning a really long time, especially because it seems like there's kind of like we're experiencing a boom now, but I'm thinking there's probably going to be some really fast like curve downward into diminishing returns happening soon.
Do you ever think God gets super pissed off when he sees us like painting, you know, real life stuff, and that motherfucker stole my meme, bitch ass? Motherfucker. That's why God doesn't talk to us anymore, because we stole all his memes.
Yeah. Storming around in heaven like, I thought of it first.
This is my fucking...
These people are so derivative.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do?
God's just a hack comedian who thinks everyone stole his jokes.
He's a boomer comedian.
God would be a boomer comedian. Of course he would. Speaking of boomer comedians, or inadvertently being a comedian, Kevin Sorbo is back in the headlines. We've talked about Kevin Sorbo before, so I really...
He's a repeat theme. We really do like him. We need to get him on.
Back up because he's in the headlines right now. He thinks that apparently if he was playing a pedophile terrorist in a movie, that he would be nominated for an Oscar, because that is a thing that people think, especially when they're famous actors. I don't get it, man. The guy is.
This is like the phenomena of I guess like boomers with Fox News brain, where it's like they can't help but like say whatever it is, like just like they have to weave the latest thing that's pissing them off into like whatever it is they're talking about. They can't have like the normalcy is gone like from their brains, so it's just like
you're just like sitting having dinner and you're like
has to get those jabs in about Islam, just can't help it.
Well, it's such an interesting arc too, to be like, hi, I'm Kevin. I was Hercules in the 90s, but I'm a weird QAnon guy now. It's like, okay, man, like I don't really know, because didn't he take a pretty big hit to his career when he was in those like Christian films? That's being generous, God's Not Dead was one of them, I think.
But yes, probably.
I couldn't tell if that was like because I can't tell if it's like somebody like Steven Crowder, who like just kind of fell into that. Like I don't think that he was like genuinely conservative until he was like, oh, I'm a terrible comedian. Like, oh, it's so much easier. I can just do this. It's like there's a niche for this. I just do conservative comedy because like it's the bar is so low. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Sorbo, I feel I can't tell if he actually believes it or if he like was just like, I'm a miserable actor. I landed a lucky role with the Hercules. I got a cult following. I'll just do Christian movies. Like Christians, they just love anything. That's
as long as it aligns with what they're doing. I mean, It does make sense. It's super cheap and easy to do, and you're absolutely right about Crowder, because like all he does is like just replace being funny with being upset, and that seems to work. That seems to be what the people are asking for.
He does like hacky comedy-ish stuff, but I mean, you're mostly right that he just like plays up how upset he is, which is like half the fucking conservative.
Yeah, conservatives love it, and then liberals hate it. So he just gets all of the attention.
Relatable. I mean, liberal hate is fun.
Trigger the libs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, well, I mean, the real question about Kevin Sorbo is, did he ever have like a Mel Gibson moment where he like truly fucking lost it and it really embarrassed himself? Because I tried to look it up and it just says apparently he threw a fit over masks in a Starbucks, which is like. Yeah, maybe don't do that if you're famous, but also I feel like anybody's dad might throw a fit in a Starbucks.
Mild by today's standards, really.
Yeah.
I think he just had a slow descent and had very little relevancy to begin with. So like when that became the like crowning achievement of his current phase of life, you're just kind of like, wow, Hercules sucks. Like what? Like
he did do the this wasn't like a big blow off top thing, but he did he was like tweeting during the January 6th riots like yes this is good. Oh, no. and then after it like started not being so good, like clearly he was like Antifa's doing this. And it was like literally like you were watching like his brain just be like cognitive dissonance, different narrative. That was like especially funny to me.
That's the number one thing that I'm like the most scared of will happen to me when I get older, though, because there's like a lot of dudes that I've looked up to that this seems like it's just happened to them gradually. Like Jim Brewer from Half Baked used to be one of the most funny ass comedians in the world. Now he just goes up on stage and like barks like a dog and like spits all over the audience.
He's literally the guy from Tim Heidecker's like special. He like just is that guy. Like it's crazy. I actually lived in the next to the town that he lives in, Chester, New Jersey. Oh. And he lives in Chester. And that and he was like notoriously like just like a dumb piece of shit.
Imagine that though, like the famous guy in your town or like in the next town over or whatever. It's just like, oh, do you ever see Jim Brewer around? And it's just like, oh my God, I did see Jim Brewer. I avoid his ass in the grocery store.
Yeah. He's just like, nobody was excited to see him. It was just like, oh, that's Jim Brewer.
I'm just imagining if they tried to reboot or just like make a sequel to Half Baked and like every character is based on their, actor's like current stance as a person. Like Dave Chappelle is just like fuck trans people, and Jim Brewer's like I don't know what the other actors are doing, but those two would be terrible. I mean, I would assume they would smoke weed, but maybe not. I don't know. I mean, how do you like
They should
smoke way more weed, it seems like to me.
Yeah, they're not smoking enough weed. I think that's the issue mostly.
Yeah, I feel like you get older and you're like, smoking weed is a young person's game. I mean, like, I don't know. There's some people who've given it up at the appropriate time. Like Willie Nelson is like, I think in his fucking 80s now. And he said in an interview recently, he's like, I can't smoke weed anymore. I'm a very old man. I have to treat my lungs better. And I'm like, all right, you got it, Willie. Like, you picked the right time. But for guys like Jim Brewer, I feel like if you stop smoking weed anytime before you're like 65, you're basically off your meds. Like,
yeah.
Probably created, we assume that he smoked weed, but like Jim Brewer just has that weed smoking face. It was like the kind of the thing about him is we don't actually know if he smoked weed or not. He just always looked like that. But if he did,
I would be willing to bet that he does not. He has not smoked weed for a long time, having lived
that's
in proximity
fair.
to him. I don't think I was not getting weed smoking vibes from him for.
Well, I guess
he probably smoked a hit of the shit the kids are smoking nowadays back in like 2012 and just about fucking collapsed. And he's like, that's great.
You saw the face of God.
Can I get some of that, please? I would love some 2012 shit mid. I would even take swag.
Bring back the mid weed.
Absolutely.
Give me the swag.
That's what I'm always saying. That's what my whole fucking podcast is always saying. Like, there are 2 cart options at the weed store near me. There's a $30 cart and a $60 cart. The $30 cart is actually better. It lasts longer, works better, doesn't taste as good. That's the only difference.
Maybe that's the problem is weed got too good and all the regular dudes.
Now look at Jim Brewer.
I don't know where
he took one hit of Purple Kush gelato and it just turned his brain into fucking soup.
Oh man. Well, speaking of spending most of your life in a gangster's paradise, I think we do need to honor. Were we speaking of that? Maybe that was a stretch.
We were basically speaking.
I do think we need to honor the great rapper, 90s phenom icon Coolio has passed away, which is just just shitty news to find out on a Thursday. But even shittier news is apparently Hillary Clinton felt like she needed to speak out on this in an event, saying that Coolio's passing is a big loss, which whatever, fine. That's fine. She did that. I don't whatever. I just hate that I have to see a fucking headline that says Hillary Clinton calls Coolio's passing a big loss. Like I gotta send a shout out to Rebecca Akers-Stowe, a homie, and they had taken the image of this headline and just put the like zoom effect on it. It's just like, we live in the fucking most ridiculous timeline. Like, why do I have to see a headline of this nature? I don't want.
Does she know that she's not running anymore? She's not like gunning for the black vote. Like, what's going on here? Like, does she love Coolio? You remember when she was running, she says that she carries hot sauce in her bag.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah. With no understanding of like where that line comes from. She's just like, I carry hot sauce in my Gucci purse for sure.
And then the Ned Try guy steps up and he's like, I've got my own special hot sauce.
Oh my God.
Like to put it in your bag, Hillary.
Isn't that another guy though?
Okay.
Yeah, that's another guy.
That's a different Try guy, but they're all the same Try guy.
They're all one guy to me.
They're all one guy to me.
4 faces of the one Try guy.
Multiple limbs.
Multi-faced god of trying.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just feel like the Clintons have always been on this tip of just like whether or not it makes any sense, or even if they know they're going to fail at it, they always try to like comment on Black American culture pretty much since Bill Clinton played saxophone on TV one time 25 years ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. You're right.
Everyone loved it.
Until Barack Obama was elected, they called Bill Clinton the first black president for a long time. That was like a pre-internet trope, was to call him that. And those were the years when all of America was walking around like, yeah, we did it. Racism is over.
Actually gives me a little bit of hope right now to realize we've actually made progress. Like the worst kind of progress I could imagine, but like the fact that the general public doesn't think of Bill Clinton as the first black president, I'm gonna fucking take that win right now. I'm gonna take the win, and I'm gonna sleep a little bit easier tonight. Wow. Yeah. That kind of hurts. I mean, I grew up in that area where Bill Clinton is from. And in fact, there's people in my family that were close to his like campaign and shit when he was like governor and then rose to power. And like, they always hated him, but they were conservative. So they hated him for conservative reasons, not for, just like general shitty people reasons, like.
Right. Well, it's like in order to hate Bill Clinton for the right reasons, you have to have good politics in the first place. So that like excludes most Americans, I would say.
Yeah. It's particularly low.
Did Hillary Clinton have anything to say about this Lizzo with the flute incident? I've been trying to decipher this one.
Oh my God.
Can anyone
Wait, what happened? What happened with Lizzo?
I don't
and the
know.
flute?
I'm just wondering if y'all do.
She played. You guys know about this, right?
I actually don't.
Okay,
No.
if you don't know,
I saw this movie.
So Lizzo played the glass flute of James Madison for the first time in like 200 years or some shit like that, and people were just like, there was like the two takes were like, this is amazing and for everybody and for like representation and whatever the fuck, and the other one was like, this is a desecration of a monument of American greatness, and it's just like, who the fuck? I didn't even know James Madison had a flute until Lizzo played it. So I don't give a shit. Like, not only I don't care in any way about it, and if you care about it, fuck you at all. If anybody cares about it, I don't care what your take is. Fuck you.
Well, yeah, it's like I didn't even know about the flute until this happened, and it's just like, if this is some great and holy artifact of American history, then how come nobody's ever fucking heard of it until right now? The fourth president's crystal flute. It's ridiculous. It's not like she ripped off a piece of the Constitution and whistled it like a tree leaf. Like, come on. What the fuck are you talking about? And even if she did, that would be cooler, honestly. So I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I just wish it was, back in what was the year 2000 when American Pie was a movie, and what's her name, the redhead, could say one time at band camp, and that was the thing we could discuss about the flute. But wow, I'm gonna really date myself on that one, huh? Imagine Lizzo played Gangster's Paradise on the glass flute while twerking, of course, because if she's known to do. Well, that's apparently a thing she does. I mean, she's a trained, and she's a very, what is it, a flautist? Like, I don't know the word for a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's like, she knows how to play, and she also does it at her shows and twerks. And I think the fact that we didn't get the twerking and that people are still outraged, like, shut the fuck up. Like, come on, calm down. Like, this was a great opportunity to piss people off, though. If she had twerked, like, you could have just rolled that in with the She-Hulk thing. That could have been, yeah. I mean, people would have been foaming at the mouth for days on that one.
I would have mostly been impressed. I don't know how you would manage to twerk and flute at the same time.
I'll send you some videos. She can do it.
John Hancock, known for the big signature. James Madison, twerking flautistry. That's correct.
It's actually more of a.
And if people keep getting upset with this stuff, we're gonna have Lil Nas X play Old Town Road on Thomas Jefferson's Hurdy Gurdy.
I want to see 21 Savage play Thomas Jefferson's sousaphone and just twerk right up to the White House.
I didn't even know Ben Franklin had a cajon.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Well, I do think we need, because we've been checking in on some people like Kevin Sorbo, Hillary Clinton. Apparently Jordan Peterson is back in the headlines, and we love to talk about Jordan Peterson. This headline is perfect. Just it just fits right in with everything we love on the show. It says Jordan Peterson breaks down in tears, of course, when asked about Olivia Wilde calling him hero to the incel community. His answer: sure, why not? I love this. Of course, I mean, I love that he would be asked about it in the news, and then I love that his response would be basically accepting of it and crying. Like that's
yeah.
I mean, chef's kiss.
Base emotion.
Look, I don't really understand why you're asking me if I'm some kind of messiah to the unsexed masses, but if that's the way that the North American and Western media wants to portray me, then I guess I can just cry into this bowl of Cheerios about it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Kermit? Jesus Christ,
How does he cry so much?
Well, I feel like the reason he cries so much is because he's trying to evoke this like great awakening sense of like morality or something, where it's like there's this spiritual connection to the world that we've all lost touch with somewhere in the last 200 years, and like maybe if I weep openly, like it's a little bit of like a Jesus complex.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like he has the energy of one of those guys who goes to Jerusalem and like wears the white robe and grows his beard out and all of that shit, except he's just like this weird scary lich lord of a Canadian man.
Yeah. No. He genuinely believes that he's like sent by God. Like he does. I swear to God, yeah, he does believe that. There's been confirmed, like he had conversations with people. He downplays it now, but anybody who like can, like, I mean, you picked up on it perfectly. He's got a Jesus complex, and he's really feeding into it. He believes in like the like it's about the apocalyptic like downfall of society based on like liberal values and like the loss of I guess conservative.
Honestly,
values.
I appreciate that anyone has the the basically the energy to feel like they can save society. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I feel like really good about the fact that I'm still awake to do this podcast, much less like try to save society. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, who the fuck?
Well, there's a lot of responses to powerlessness in the world, and it's like it's why people join cults, it's why people join weird fringe political movements and get involved in all kinds of shit that doesn't make a fucking difference. And it's like, if at any point along the way you're just like, okay, this is it, we've figured it out, this is the magic bullet, whether it's like Jesus or capitalism or like cleaning up your room or whatever the case may be, then like that sets you up in a position where now your whole agenda is to just get everybody to do exactly the same thing that you're doing, even though that thing isn't working for you. Like, when was Jordan Peterson at his most like fitful and religious, like most fervorous, like embracement of religion? It was when he was on that crazy all meat diet and he was like inches from death for half a year.
He was strung out on benzos, like literally. He was addicted to benzos.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Anytime I've ever taken benzos, I can't imagine how you get addicted to them. This shit is terrible. Like, I can't.
I just feel like I've been teleported forward in time.
Yeah, exactly. I was also just imagining what it's like if Jordan Peterson is like sitting in his car and he sees someone like return their cart to like the little cart corral or whatever, and he just like suddenly starts weeping like. The person. I can't do the Kermit voice. Y'all have to do it.
I can't really.
The man returned his cart to the.
That's pretty good.
I can actually do a Kermit voice. I just can't. I didn't know I could do a Jordan Peterson. And just weep.
They're the same voice.
The same voice, yeah.
Okay, we're just weeping openly, like just let me record a video roll with this person. Just put their cart back in the car. They didn't have to do that. But
that's good.
I think that speaks more to the struggle of our of mankind, of society, and they just I don't care about your room. I don't give a fuck. I don't have to go in your room. If it's clean or not, fuck off. Like, let it be dirty. That's great. Did you put your car back down?
He's a religiousification of reaction, basically. That's
these people, they want a religious experience because they're not getting like a material experience in their lives that's any kind of like life affirming. But if that's all you want, like, there's easier ways to see God in the parking lot of a Piggly Wiggly than to watch like hundreds of hours of some scrawny old dude telling you that like you need to keep a day planner or something.
I feel so
I like that he doesn't address the like in the article. I kind of skimmed it. He doesn't ever talk about being called a pseudo-intellectual by Olivia Wilde, only that he's the messiah to incels. He just talks about that the whole time. Like, no, I think you missed the point. Like, that was just like, they're both insults, but more like the pseudo-intellectual one is like the one that's,
He wants to make it into a compliment. I feel like he tries to build up incels in this interview, like as if like, incels
that's the thing.
They're not that bad, like.
Yeah. They're just fine young boys who have been abandoned by liberal society, which is like I don't know, in a weird, fucked up, perverse way, that's kind of true, but I'm sure that that's not what you mean, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no, he's
more concerned with, like, people aren't getting married in a church anymore. Shut the fuck up, man.
There's one line, I want to see if I can find it, where he talks about, like, how, like, women should be allowed to be picky, but, like, also he tries to, like, redeem men who don't meet these women's standards, and I'm just like, who are you talking about right now? Did you even look at the people you're trying to give a pass to? Like, whose room were we referring to when he says clean your room? That's really the question, you know? Like,
well, it's all a big sales pitch, right? Like, in a way, guys like that have similar energy to, like, those pickup artist dudes who would write books in, like, the mid 2000s, and they all looked like Chris Angel for some reason. And, like,
Mystery.
That's the same. Who?
His name was Mystery. I read the book.
You read it?
Yeah, I read it. I know how to neg now.
Tell us more.
You just be mean to bitches, and apparently that makes them horny for you.
Yeah, I feel like if you just, like, put that guy in a sweater and, like, gave him a college professor haircut, that would basically be Jordan Peterson.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I've got some face app assignments for after this episode that I'm going to definitely be trying out. I'm too lazy for Photoshop, but yeah, I think face app can pull in there for us. Well, speaking of pulling in, apparently Spain has debuted a new mascot for their mass transit line. This isn't new. This was actually on our show notes from like a week or two ago, but I do feel like it's worth bringing up. The mascot is named Bussi, which I think, you know, really only just speaks to maybe the language barrier there. From people in Spain are probably not calling male pussy Bussi. I don't know what
they know what they're doing.
Really?
Come on, the marketing team that works for the city couldn't just Google that word real quick and put English and then just.
Well, to be fair, it has an I instead of a Y, so probably nothing came up. I mean. I don't know.
Bussi,
they get American TV though. Come on.
Did they say Bussi on American TV? I don't. I only see this on my Facebook page.
The part of it that creeps me out the most is he looks like an Adventure Time character. Like he looks like a weird Bizarro World Finn.
The design is good.
It's like a Warframe suit.
Way. The dances, I don't know if you watched the video. I just sent a shout out to Willow, who we missed. She's not here tonight, but Willow sent this to the chat at least a week ago. And she and I were both discussing how the Bussi dance is pretty impressive. Like, so Bussi is like, you know, in an inflatable suit. Whoever's inside has moves. And then there's like two very generic, just, you know, like they look like they work at the front desk for the Bussi, the Bussi service.
Bussi service.
Hi, I'd like to get a ticket. I'd like to get 2 Bussi tickets, please.
You run your Metro card through the cheeks. Ready to go. Bing. It unlocks.
But the effort put into the production of the Bussi suit and the dance and everything, they do a great job. I got to give them credit. Like it's not a bad marketing campaign. I just don't know how. I guess Ashley, you said they knew what they were doing. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just as simple as that. Occam's razor.
Because we never would be talking about it, and no one would be talking about it if it wasn't named Bussi.
Yeah, I don't care about a mascot for a transit system in a European country. Like, all I care about is that we don't have proper transit in the country I happen to live.
Very good point.
I do like the Bussi suit though, like how wide it is around the hips. Like he's a real pear-shaped boy, and it makes me think he could do the gritty dance where he's like whipping his midsection around, you know. So it's kind of like a bringing around town mixed with like a twerking kind of phenomenon.
I really hope that someone leaks Bussi's OnlyFans photos of Bussi's Bussi.
Rachel Dolezal Bussi.
I'm not going to personally look at them. I think I don't condone that. But if they just landed in my group chat and Bussi photos, I would, you know, hey, it just happens sometimes. I don't know.
It's on DeviantArt. I'm just going to look it up.
If it's not, I will have lost all faith in humanity at this point.
Yeah, the internet's getting caught lacking if it's not already.
If there's not Bussi on DeviantArt, Matt, please tell us. You should know by now.
I can't find it. I found a really creepy there's a thing called Bussi Bear. I'm not going to click on that.
I was trying to find Bussi Rule 34, but nothing. Surprisingly, you would think
people are usually on top of that stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought we were behind on the story, but apparently we're ahead of the Rule 34 Bussi, which is probably the name of this episode. And Ashley, you're going to have to draw that for the cover art. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right,
have time for no problem. If you could throw that in your schedule.
I got you, bro. Yeah, I'll draw Bussi porn for you guys.
Our podcast is ended after this episode. No platforms will show it ever again.
It's sued by Spain.
I'll blur it out. Yeah. We blurred the last cover art, and we can blur this one too. Don't worry.
You don't want to be walking around saying like, "Well, we had a good run until we messed with the Spanish Transit Authority." Nobody fucks with the STA.
Speaking of nobody messing with somebody, apparently people hate to see a girl boss winning when Meghan McCain posted that they don't want to see conservative women in power in support of the new fascist leader of Italy, which is, a fascinating position to take.
Meghan McCain, bro. The most talentless hack, just completely devoid of any kind of interesting anything to contribute. Simply just the daughter of John McCain. And we still have to listen to her fucking say shit like this.
Yeah. I mean, why is she a fucking celebrity? Like, it's so fucking infuriating. I know people are like mystified. They're like, why are the Kardashians even famous? I don't know. At least the Kardashians go on screen and like do things to get people's attention. I've never seen Meghan McCain do anything that wasn't just like the most boring
boilerplate conservative bullshit.
Yeah, stuff that you could get off of like a fucking Post-it note calendar on any conservative uncle's desk.
I want to know, could we ever have like a nepotism celebrity death match? I think that would serve the greater good of society. Meghan McCain versus Liz Cheney, or all the Kardashians just have to go against each other until only one is alive.
I would support that. But yeah, this is truly great. They hate to see a girl boss winning. It's so true, so true. When you see a fascist woman rise to power, I mean, come on, dude, this is girl power.
Representation.
This is representation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's like a lot of rules, especially in Europe, about like you can't be an open and out fascist, and so they find ways around it. But then there's also the thing where it's like, okay, if we put a woman or somebody else who, within the normal fascist scheme of things, would like be instantly repressed in normal situations, then we kind of have this out of being like, oh, we're not fascists. We have a lady leading our part. Like I remember this was happening in Peru a couple of years ago when they were running Keiko Fujimori, and like, yeah, Keiko Fujimori is a woman, but she's also happens to be the daughter or granddaughter or niece or something of Alberto Fujimori, who was like the fascist ruler of Peru for a long ass time. So like trying to posit any of this stuff as a win for diversity. The same thing with that Marcos lady in there's the Philippines, I think it was, who just won or it was Bong Marcos and somebody Duterte. But like the point stands, it's like you can kind of just like rearrange the optics on anything any way you want, and like the fascists know this, Democrats know this, like everyone liberal and to the right knows this.
I can't wait to support my first black trans fascist. It's going to be a real
intersectional
win.
Fascism, baby.
Thank you.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's here.
I mean, it's a dead meme from 5 years ago by this point. That's the crazy thing. It's like all of the weird like J-Reg fans who were making political compass memes and still are like, yeah, we've done it all. We've done every permutation of politics, and it's like, I don't know. I guess that's just the danger of like formalizing something like politics, breaking it down into a bunch of elements and just smashing them together randomly instead of looking out around you at the world and being like, what do people really need right now? Which is probably more productive.
You'd hope.
And they definitely don't need like a resurgence of right-wing parties all across Europe. But that's the other thing about the like resurgence of fascism in Europe is it's all backed by the United States. Like, the United States loves Viktor Orban. The United States loves the Azov Battalion and all of the, you know, administrators in Ukraine that have been there since the 2014 Euromaidan thing happened. We love the golden. I mean, Steve Bannon left the White House and basically did a speaking tour of Europe, going around to different like Golden Dawn and other like new neo-Nazi organizations and being like, here's money, here's resources, here's contracts, here's people to call. And then we're all sitting back and like, why is Europe so crazy? It's ridiculous.
Well, at least they have Bussi, you know, so.
They do have Bussi.
It's something. I don't know.
We're going to give 1 point to Spain and we're going to take 1 point away from Italy for this.
Yeah, exactly. Can we get Bussi elected to office? That would be great.
Yeah, Italy, you need to catch up. You need to get your own Bussi, maybe put it on the roof of a Fiat plant or something like you did with that racetrack all those years ago.
Bussi in Italian just hits different too. I mean, like,
yeah.
I feel like that's a type of pasta already.
Yeah.
It's a last name.
Some Italian...
Of course.
I feel like if you ask Italy, they're like, Italy, are you ready for some Bussi? It would just be like that famous wall with Mussolini's face on it where it just says, see, over and over and over again.
Berlusconi is absolutely ready for some Bussi.
Without a doubt.
Always is.
Never not. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I probably lost track of the time because I don't know if the internet or Zencast or whatever it was. Maybe I'll cut that part. I don't know. But this has been a bonus episode 12 of the Succ. We're so happy to have John here with us from Beep Beep Lettuce. Also, you have Work Stoppage, your own podcast. It's a labor news focused podcast, which, you know, I feel like most of our listeners probably know Beep Beep Lettuce, but maybe not Work Stoppage. So make sure to check that out. I know you had a big episode recently featuring Justin from what's the YouTube channel?
Oh,
or the podcast.
Yeah, well, there's your problem. We were really, really lucky to have Justin on, and he gave us a really great rundown of how trains work in this country, or more accurately, often don't. And yeah, I mean, if you've heard Beep Beep Lettuce, that's great. I love doing that show. But I would really encourage you to check out Work Stoppage, not least of all because my co-hosts Lena and Dan put an insane amount of effort into that show, probably more than all 4 hosts on Beep Beep Lettuce put into that show combined. So I just want to give it up for them.
Beep Beep Lettuce hosts, don't listen to this episode. Sorry. But yeah, definitely
stay away.
Make sure, I mean, I don't know. I just say that with a grain of salt because I feel like most of our listeners probably do know Beep Beep Lettuce, but if they don't, they need to also check out Work Stoppage because it's a great show. And thank you for being here with us, John. It's been a great episode. To all the listeners out there, this would normally be a bonus episode, but we can't keep this behind the paywall. It's ridiculous. No. So if
give it to the people, they deserve it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. If you're listening to this free bonus episode, please be sure to check out our group, the Succ Shame Posting. I was thinking about this today. Does anybody remember why we call it the Shame Posting?
Because
I feel like it was something from like the 4th episode or something.
Yeah, because it was like people don't have enough shame, and we were encouraging people to have shame and post their shame.
It was something about like you have to be proud of your post, but also shameful at the same.
Yeah, you have to be ashamed of them. Yeah,
yeah. So that's
the duality of being alive. Yeah, you get a shame, you get a shame, you get a pridefulness, you get a shame.
But of course, also check out our Patreon. We have bonus episodes, Discord, and all that good stuff. So we love you all out there, succulents, and thanks for joining us for another episode. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.